Welcome back to our homestead. So you want to be a homesteader. Well, what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to do that? Let's talk about that. So I want to be encouraging for everyone. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story on why we moved out of the city and came out here and what we sacrificed to do so. And my only hope is that it will help some of you out. Now, I don't want this to be taken as, oh, look at me, I'm some martyr who fell on my sword. That's not it. I'm just telling you what we did, what we sacrificed to come out here. And I think it does take sacrifice from everybody. Well, both my wife and I had great jobs in the city of Houston. Absolutely loved Houston, loved Texas. It was a huge blessing to be there. And we were both respectively moving up in our companies. I was in a little architecture firm and she was at the largest health hospital system in Houston and doing really well. And both of us felt something just wasn't right. And some of you watching this video are probably feeling the exact same way. Now, some contrarians might say that that's just a midlife crisis. You needed to just switch things up and do things maybe a little bit different, move to New York City, move to LA, Chicago, whatever. And I'm here to say that's not the case. So when things don't feel right, you try to change your situation. We had great jobs. We had a nice house. It was in a great neighborhood. We had awesome friends. We went out every weekend. Had plenty of restaurants to go to all the time, lots of entertainment, lots of things to do, good church family, all of the above. So for us, it was up at 5:30 in the morning. It was sitting in traffic for an hour and a half to get to our jobs. It was dropping off our daughter at daycare at somebody's house who took care of 4 or 5 kids, and it was okay. Dropping her off at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure a lot of you might relate to this. We would pick up our daughter at maybe, 5:30 in the afternoon, give or take, whoever got off first, which was usually me. If I got in the office early, I usually opened up the door at our office. I was the first one there, so I could leave early so I could pick her up. And then it's race home, make dinner, or go out to eat, and get her into bed. And that's it. All week long. What kind of life is that? Oh, fine, we had money, big deal. Oh, fine, we got to travel and do things. Big deal. We finally made the decision that we were willing to sacrifice all of the financial stuff, all the nice house, all the toys, all the whatever. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because we needed to change our lifestyle. Now, there's another reason I'm going to talk about in a future video. It has to do with Bible study. So, I will save that for a future video, but if you want to ask me about that, hit me up with a comment in the comment section below. Well, just as I was about to continue the conversation, my neighbor started up his big old 100-horse Ford tractor in the pasture behind us, so we're going to have to deal with that noise. So the question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice a lot of trips, vacations, a lot of fun toys, going out to eat all the time, having a massive amount of cash in the bank, or as most people live nowadays, maybe not having any money and just living off credit cards or living paycheck to paycheck. I hope that's not you. But are you willing to sacrifice your careers? So my wife and I we were willing to do that. I left a great firm. Love you guys if you're watching. She left a really great job, really moving up fast in the company, at the hospital. She's a nurse. Now, yes, a nurse can get a job anywhere, and that's actually why we were able to move here, is she's able to find a job anywhere. As an architect, I'm really not able to find a job that quickly to establish myself, especially in a smaller populated area. It really didn't work out too well. So I was willing to sacrifice staying home with my children. Now, I gave up my career. I still do architecture for clients now and then, and still design homes, which is my forte. But I was willing to sacrifice all of that to homeschool my kids, which I think is incredibly important, and to be able to do the stuff like you see all around me. This is a ton of work, guys. It is a massive amount of work. We have been working on this homestead for 5 years and building it. I want to know if you are willing to sacrifice those same things. And I hope you are, and I think a lot of you are. But if you're on the fence and you don't know if you can pull yourself away from your great job or your cushy house in the city, or having entertainment all the time, then maybe this isn't for you. But I want to encourage you, because that stuff in the end doesn't mean much. Even though this is the hardest work I've ever done, even though, especially the homeschool, guys, the homeschool is absolutely the hardest work I've ever done. Much more than the physical labor that goes on out here. But I want to know, friends, are you ready for that? Are you ready mentally to give all that stuff up? Give up travel and vacations, maybe for a little while. I don't know. Maybe you can do this lifestyle. You can retire from your job. Maybe you're older than I am, or even younger, and you make a ton of cash. You can retire early, be set for life. Don't worry about it. Come out here, spend as much money as you want, and still travel and do all that other stuff. If you can do that, great. A lot of people aren't, and that's kind of who I'm talking to. And I'm talking to those of you who are maybe a little more working class and you don't have enough, you don't have the means to just, spend as much money as you can on 50 acres of land. I want to encourage you to find something that suits you, find something small and get started. But it will take sacrifice on your part as well, because you don't have as much initial investment capital, let's just say. I grew up with not that much, so I know where you're coming from, but you still desire to do this. What are you willing to sacrifice? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for everybody. It's going to be tough for those who have a lot to give up what they have. And it's going to be tough for those who have a little to envision themselves coming out here and maybe even having maybe less to start. I don't know. Or you might be able to live like a king or queen out here. Now, I know many people who have moved out of the city and they didn't have very much money at all. And now they're growing their own food and they're doing, little side hustle jobs and things like that. And they are so unbelievably happy. And that's what it's about, right? It's about being happy where you're at. Or if you're not happy where you're at, changing your situation. So I'm speaking directly to those of you who have less means. You see all this stuff behind me. You see all this stuff on our homestead, on the channel all the time. It took me a while to acquire all that. So I want to encourage you that you don't have to acquire all these things on your homestead right away. It's taken us 5 years to build it up. And we've also started some small side hustle jobs that help add to our family's income. This YouTube channel is one of them. So I've said it many times, I want this video to be encouraging. I don't want you to say, oh, well, he had hundreds of thousands of dollars to start with and he bought all this stuff right away. That is absolutely untrue. When we moved here, we took a 50% pay cut. My income was gone and my wife's got cut by 2/3. But we had some forethought in rapidly paying down our debt via Dave Ramsey's debt snowball, and I encourage all of you to do that. And it'll make the transition easier for those of you of less means and greater means. Because those of you with greater means may have a whole ton of debt and you might be living paycheck to paycheck. I want to encourage you to get rid of all that, cut back now, cut back where you are, and then jump into this lifestyle. So additionally, we cut down the size of our house. This little house behind us is 1,700 square feet. It's perfect for us. We don't need any more. Although I would like a second kitchen to process all the food coming out of this garden. And we had a much larger home in Houston, and it was so spacious, we actually didn't use several rooms. So I want to encourage you, friends, to get rid of those materialistic things. They don't matter in the long run. If you're a Christian, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, and you're watching this video, I think you know also that those material things of this earth really don't mean much in the long run. So friends, what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to do this? And let me tell you, this has been extremely rewarding. So I want to say, if you're scared to let some things go, don't be. Because once you do, you'll feel this freedom that you've never felt before. And maybe after a short period of time of moving out to a country lifestyle, you will absolutely forget about all the stuff that you miss about your previous lifestyle. So I gotta tell you, I've had some jobs where I've traveled the country. I visited almost all 50 states, and the travel just wears on you, and it'll wear on your family too. So if you want a restart, this is one of the best ways to do it. So I want to encourage you also to have that American entrepreneurial spirit. That spirit will help you to be able to start maybe some small businesses wherever it is that you go, the mountains, the forest, the plains, it doesn't matter. And it'll help you provide for you and your family. And things will just materialize for you. We prayed a lot about it. If you're the praying type, that's what we did. And we are now selling a lot of our strawberry plants. I have strawberries going like crazy. They grow really well here. Also raspberries. And that is a budding small business for us. So I never had a thought of selling berry plants until things started to grow really well for me. And the opportunity just arose and I took it. But that sacrifice too is hours and hours of learning and hours of taking care of these things. That's enjoyable to me, and if that's enjoyable to you, you're gonna have a great time out on a country homestead. So friends, no matter who you are, give up what you need to give up, sacrifice what you need to sacrifice, and get out to your little country homestead. Have a great day. We love you. See you next time. Bye.